Previously on Emilia Fart.
Maria, who is your best friend? Please make a video with her. My best friend is an absolute icon named Jenny. I don't believe I can make a video with her because she is very shy. She does not like being on camera. So I don't know if you'll ever really get to know her or see her. But maybe if you pester her at @cloudbusters on Instagram, maybe she'll come around. Everybody go annoy.
Who's that girl? What's her name? Is she cool? Is she lame? Oh, you talk about what's her name? Emilia Fart. Is she lame? Is she cool? Is she breaking every rule? Is she anybody's fool? Emilia Fart. Are you ready? You're not an attention whore. You don't crave attention.
No.
Then how come you're friends with someone who's so annoying in the opposite direction?
Yeah, that's a good question. They say opposites attract.
Yeah.
When I met Emilia, I had just moved to Ontario from Idaho.
And you always wore like little ballet shoes,
Oh, yeah.
even in the wintertime?
Even in the winter, yeah. My mom tried to throw them out, and I had to dig them out of the garbage.
What did I look like when you first came to school? Did I have pink
feel
hair?
like, okay, so you had like cotton candy colored hair. It was like every single different color. I think you had the scooter. You were like scooting around, and you had the LCBO bag.
Yeah.
That was like...
That was my backpack.
That was your backpack. But how did we actually meet again?
Okay. So we would see each other, and we had mutual friends, but we never spoke. Because you were adopted by these other kids in our group that were like, that saw how cool you were and were like, she's ours. And I was more on this side with with what became our friend Wilson. And we were kind of the losers of the alternative crowd. Because we weren't that cool. We were more just like weird. We would secretly listen to Beach Boys and say we were listening to screamo music, like that kind of vibe. So we hung out in between doors a lot. One day, Jenny happened to be there. And the truth is, what happened was there was this girl in our group who was kind of mean.
Oh, yeah.
And we happened to be in between the doors, and somehow we started talking about this girl and how mean she was to you and to Wilson.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And me, I guess. And we were like, oh my God. And I don't know, that's how I remember we bonded over it.
Classic.
Yeah.
Gossip. Bonding over gossip is the way to
honestly,
become
gotta
friends
love
with
gossip.
Emilia.
A disgusting yet true fact. So just me and Jenny, after school, it was wintertime, we went to the back of it. She's wearing her ballet shoes in the snow. Mm-hmm. And I try to roll this joint, and I don't know what I'm doing, and it's just this big, loose log cigar that's falling apart.
It was like it was like what could be a blunt,
yes,
but
if I had skill. You know when you're high and everything is strange, and you're just in a movie and everything. Oh, fuck me in the asshole. Oh shit! It's a car. It's a car. It's just something's wrong in the world these days when you can't just sit in the middle of a road and film a video. It's like, please.
But anyways, that was when we were like, oh, okay, I guess we're best friends now.
I was friends with this kid, Wilson. So me, Jenny, and Wilson became a trio because this one time we hung out, we're like, the three of us are going to ditch the rest of our group, and we're going to hang out just the three of us. And we went to Wilson's house, and we hung out in her basement and had this very, very, dare I say, iconic sleepover where we stayed up the entire night. Mm-hmm. We did sneak out of Wilson's basement. We lived in a town that had money. We went to the yacht club, and we held hands in front of mansions, and we made a promise to be best friends for the rest of our lives. And guess what, guys? We kept the promise, because guess what? Sweetness is real, and guess what? Friendship. Oh.
Must be.
Yeah. It was just three girls that were kind of lost. And we're kind of sad.
Yeah.
And they found each other.
Yeah,
and they just realized that all they needed was friendship.
Yep.
What did we think of each other before we actually spoke?
Who's this free-spirited, free willy type who's just
Free willy.
I don't know why, okay, let me rephrase
No,
that.
don't rephrase it.
Someone who was just totally in their own world and like didn't give a fuck what anyone else thought. That was my interpretation of you.
Well, that's sweet.
And like even in high school when like everyone cares what other people think, like that's a very enticing. This was the third high school that I had been to, and so by that time I was like, yes, that is the kind of person I want to spend time with.
You were just wearing what you thought was cool and what you liked, and you just had an air of coolness. And I think that has to do with like not trying.
I definitely wasn't interested in trying anymore.
Yeah, not interested in
So-
like attention or status, or like you just were like, I don't know, and that just made you just have always had an air of cool, no matter like what phase, no matter what style.
Oh, that's nice. When I met Emilia, I was in Canada for like another year.
Yeah.
And so we had 1 year of like really intense friendship until my family found out like the summer before my grade 11 year and your grade 12 year. They were like, oh, we got to move back to Chicago. And we were like, no.
It was really, really heartbreaking.
It was so heartbreaking. It sucked so hard. We hung out in a minivan. We hung out in a Ford Windstar called Frida, and we would go to the lake, and we would just hang out at this lake. Whether we were doing debaucherous things or not doesn't even matter because it was such a wholesome
That's the thing.
thing.
It didn't matter what we were doing.
Yeah.
Maybe someone was sketchy, but the heart of our hangs were just fucking wholesome and just fucking sweet and just straight up friendship. After Jenny moved to Chicago and she would come back for visits, my mom would just kind of be like, bye.
Yeah.
And she would just go
Which
to...
I respect.
She would go to San Francisco or go to like, I don't know, Croatia. I don't know where the fuck she was. But she would just be like, bye, and then, and not leave any food. And we had no money, so...
We ate like stale banana chips and
Bacon bits.
Bacon bits, yes, dehydrated bacon bits.
For days and days.
Yeah. It was a great time, though.
It was fun. So it was New Year's Eve, and it was unusually warm that year. And we went to this party.
Oh, yeah.
We went to this party. Personally, I was kind of dating this guy at the time, Box, who I lost my virginity to. He came to the party, and we made out, and then he left. And then because he was gone and I was a whore, I chose to hook up with this guy, John.
Who had such a sexy Adam's apple.
It was very pointy.
He was a babe.
He was a babe.
Yeah, he was a babe.
But he was very sick and feverish at the time, but I didn't care, and I kind of like...
God.
Me and John slept, I think, in the party host bed. I don't know where he slept. Jenny was not consensual. Jenny was trapped under the arm of a smelly man.
I didn't even have a home to go home to, so I was like,
Yeah.
I guess I'll just stay here. And this guy, like, had his fucking ogre arm over me. Like, it was dead weight. Like, I couldn't
was
get
Shrek's
it
arm.
off. Yeah, I couldn't get it off.
You were trapped under Shrek.
And I was so thirsty, and there was, like, a thing of Gatorade that was just out of reach, and I was like, trying to get it.
So we like look at, I don't know how it happened, we look at each other and we just like creep out while the guys are still sleeping, and they're like, they wake up as we're exiting the door, they're like, where are you going? We're like, we just gotta go. And we were very vague. And we went to a local convenience store. We got Oreos and what we called trashy magazines, which was like Us Weeklies and like Inquirers. And we sat on a hill bank and we ate the Oreos, and where we licked the cream and then threw the cookies on the ground. I'm not saying it's a great thing to do. I'm just saying that's what we did.
No.
And we read the trashy magazine, we sat on the hill bank, and we were just hungover and we just felt fucking weird. And then eventually we had to call a cab and get to my house. And
It was a cozy time,
it was
though.
just a sweet day. It was
Like,
just
just
like, what
sitting
have
on
we
the-
done?
It's true.
Jenny moved away after our first year of friendship. She went to Chicago. It was fucking heartbreaking. It was really sad. We emailed 400 times a day.
Yeah, I would write things on, like, the inside of my hand throughout the day. Just to, like, remember all the things that I wanted to tell you.
What is it like having each other as a best friend?
Well, first of all, it's a really nice experience to have someone as a best friend for so long.
Yeah.
Because you've gone through so many different phases.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like there's high school, which we mostly talked about, but there was like such a weird, like, in-between time.
Yeah.
Where things were even rocky between us.
Yeah.
Getting over it. You losing your dad, you grieving for that year, basically before starting this YouTube channel, and seeing your transformation has been like eye-opening. And then having you as a best friend, like, it's like the most comfortable. Like, I can be fucking weird, I can be sobbing, I can be super angry, I can, like, I can be like the most genuine version of myself around you.
Okay, Jenster as a friend is like the best possible friend you could ever have. Like, very perceptive. Like, even like one time we were hanging out, this was a couple years ago. We were hanging out and it was after Dad died. And I wasn't in the thick of being depressed about Dad. Like I was like working out of it. So it wasn't in the forefront of my brain anymore. But we were in a situation with some of your family, and one of your family members was, I think, talking about or talking to someone that was sick and in the hospital.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God. I was just like, I wasn't thinking about like my situation that moment. I was just like, oh my God, I feel so bad for like what's happening right now. And you looked at me and you were like, I'm sorry. Like you just melt, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I was like you, and then I was feeling, but I wasn't thinking about it. You were just like, that's such a thoughtful and perceptive thing, because you like, I wasn't even aware of how it was affecting me, but you did.
Yeah.
Like just moments like that, you're so like effortlessly tuned in to people in a really cool way. Like not only on an emotional level, but that like it helps you in your career, in like your creativity, in your, but like, yeah, it's a really special quality. And like as a friend, it's like, I don't know, it's really sweet.
That's so nice. I don't take compliments very well, even from my best friend. So sorry, guys, on camera, I'm not gonna be able to give the best.
But
that's so sweet.
But
and
I think
it's true.
that's part of why I think we're good friends, is because we're very different in that. Like I think of myself as like a fucking monster, and with like attention and like validation and like everybody look at me. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
But you're not like that. There's pros and cons to everything. So it's
yeah.
good to recognize the balance in between.
But I think it's cool that we're friends, like, because I know for like, just myself, you help me see things differently. And I think you make me a better person, because I think if I was...
Well, I feel the same way too. I would not be as like... First of all, I would not be in front of this camera right now if it weren't for you.
Well, I don't know if that's a good thing.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing necessarily, but I definitely wouldn't feel comfortable talking about my emotions if it weren't for you. And I definitely wouldn't feel like open or receptive to like alternative methods of trying to reach a place of stability and comfort and self-love. Like that was the craziest transformation with you, is like you were not happy for so long for so many different reasons, and then you lost your dad. And that was just a whole other layer of grieving that was mixed with all these other things that you'd already been dealing with before. And, like, you could have gone, like, kept going downhill, and instead you were just like, nope, something has to change. I gotta do something about this. And you created literally this career out of it. But so much more than that. Like, it's not just, like, that you created this career and you have this amazing community that follows you now. It's like you genuinely have reached a place where you actually love yourself. And while everyone has their own anxieties and insecurities and their compulsive behavior, like whatever, we all have that. It's going to follow us for the test of time. It's about acknowledging it and accepting it and allowing it to exist. But like to get to a place where you can just love yourself, love your environment, like be content, like be happy with your work, create such like creative and like fulfilling work that touches other people, like that's a fucking rare, it's just a rare breed of a person. And like it was so cool to see that transformation.
That was really sweet.
But for real, like, you're not a monster. But I know that you sometimes think that way.
That was really sweet, man.
Yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nanny. Oh, hey.